Good everyone, and welcome to today's video, and today it's a review on the A-29 Hudson. Now, this aircraft is essentially a US aircraft, modified for British purposes, then remodified again for Chinese purposes. Essentially, it's just simplified. Um, and the A-29 Hudson is, well, I underestimated it at first. I mean, the 50 cal on the back, I didn't underestimate because I know how good a 50 is. It was the front and the lower turrets that I underestimated, but the lower turret I didn't really use much, so I couldn't easily doubt it. But the front guns, well, you're going to see I shouldn't have doubted them. Let's just say that. So the A-29 Hudson has the same engines as the Hudson in the British tree. It has the same bomb load as the British one. It has two 7.62 Browning machine guns, so they are not British machine guns, they are American machine guns, so they have different belts. And obviously the ball turret has been removed to accommodate a 50 caliber machine gun with 400 rounds. A lot to take in, I know, but trust me, it was a lot more. It's actually a lot less than what you think. The lower turret is still very similar to a Hudson. It doesn't have a British 7.7, it has a American 7.62, so again, different belts. Obviously the 50 cal on the top, which doesn't have that much coverage around the vertical axis. I mean, it can point up nicely, but it can't really point downward that well unless it starts going around about here. But it's still got pretty good coverage across the tail of the aircraft. Obviously, it's unrestricted because of the two twin tail setup. The bomb load is enough to take out one base, which, I mean, it gets the job done. So that's always nice. If you want to use this thing for base bombing, you can kill one base. The front machine guns have the same ammo count as the British Hudson, so you get 1,000 rounds each. Well, between the two guns, I should really say. Obviously the 50 cal gets 400 rounds. The lower turret gets 500 rounds. You don't get the rocket rails, and the performance is very similar to the Hudson. So why did I think that this thing was awesome? Well, it's because I underestimated it. Obviously being a Hudson pilot, because obviously I own the Hudson and the B-34. I wasn't expecting much from the American machine guns, although I really shouldn't have. I should have just kept my mouth shut, to be truthfully honest, people. Because, well, this was a fun game. Only took me 2 flights to spade the plane. I really wish it would have been the one, but sadly not. I missed out by about 150 RP, which, I mean, it's not that much of a difference, but it would have been nice to spade this plane in one flight. Dark Angel has the honor of spading a plane in one flight. I do not. He spaded the Ki 27 Otsu in the Japanese tree in one flight. You can ask him about that in your own time. But anyway, let's jump into the battle and let's have a look at how the A-29 Hudson actually did and why I underestimated this plane. And why I'm not going to underestimate this plane anymore. That is for sure. Now, in the enemy team, there is another player who flies the Hudson. I think it was Neo Weave. I don't know how you freaking say that name. It's so weird. Some of the usernames I've seen, like my baby accounts, Huge Ass, which is just Hugh, as in like the name Hugh, and then Jazz, JAS, with an underscore, and then for another baby account, I just put an underscore on the end of that. Job done. Obviously, I did have a slight brand alert when I saw that 111 do that, but it's all fine. He was fine about it. So, player there in the Stuka is going to go fighter mode and is going to die doing absolutely nothing. He was planning to go for left base, however the BR-20 is also racing him to that base. I say I'm taking mid since no one else is taking mid, and so I go for the middle base. This isn't a particularly long battle, it's about 16 minutes long, but I'm just going to put us ahead on the action a bit. So obviously I wasn't intending to fly this thing too much like a fighter, like I normally would with with a B-34 or a Hudson. I knew what this plane could do, straight out the box, because, well, I've flown both the B-34 and the Hudson, so I know what to expect, but obviously I've just dropped my payload there, and obviously there you can see Humbug is going for that A-29 over there. I don't know why he is. He wanted to go for the left base. Humbug asked about the A-29, and so I simply just said, what guns this thing has. This A-29 pilot then comes in to try and attack me, but I know exactly how to dodge him, so I just dodge out of the way. Fire a quick burst, I do actually score a hit. And it's at this point where I go to engage this 111. I'm dropping on his tail and I start firing the 30 cals. Obviously they're not going to do much, but I was hoping to do at least something. Score a handful of hits. But obviously the 111 had a dive advantage, so I let him go. Don't want to lose all my altitude, there are enemy fighters incoming. There you can see Mr. Humbug again going for a fighter that is a CR-32, the Mark Collins. He is store climbing, so I think, oh, what the hell, might as well go for a crack at him. And well, I certainly wasn't expecting that level of damage. First air kill. I pull up, the 111 is coming, oh, not 111, 112 is coming up for a bit of a play now. And if you heard that bike then he must be running a straight pipe, because I heard it. This 112 then gets right in front of the guns. I hit his pilot, second kill. And actually, that bike going past them made me jump. He must be straight piping, that son of a gun. I put in chat, first flight, I'm in love with this. But don't worry, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. Obviously, I wasn't intended to spade this thing like a freaking fighter, but who knows, it could actually work. And it's around about this point, I spot the CR-32 and the Gladiator down there, and I'm thinking, should I go for him, or should I go back to the airfield and rearm and let the 112 idiot deal with him? Because, well, the 112 pilot completely moans in chat about a bullshit thing, which it wasn't the player's fault who actually crashed, is all I'll say. And you can see the rudders are so responsive. This thing honestly flies like a twin-engine fighter. I go in, take out the CR's pilot and blow his right wing off. That's my third kill. Obviously I pull the plane up for another turn, and I bank around onto this Gladiator, the Chinese Gladiator, which obviously I covered in review. Nice little aircraft. I mean, it is when you have a pilot in it. Fourth kill. You can imagine my reaction at this point. Let's just say that. Obviously, I've got a base kill under my belt. I've got a ground target, which was a barrels, I think it was, and four aircraft, 2 Falcos, a Gladiator, and a Heinkel 112. Always nice. Always helps towards the Spade. I'll tell you that much. And well, there's certain pilots I know for a fact who will not fly this thing like that, but I'm one of them who will, because I have balls of steel and I love doing it in bombers, because, well, in low tier you can get away with it, and that's what makes spading low tier bombers fun. Obviously, just return to the airfield here. You are going to want to watch your braking on this aircraft. The brakes are pretty dang strong, so just keep that in mind. Your aircraft will try and go nose over on landing when you hit the brakes too hard, so just bear that in mind. But other than that, it isn't actually too bad. Obviously, the Gladiator who you saw earlier, he is out of ammunition. Obviously, he's just rearmed now. The 112 who you saw earlier, again, he is just above me to my right. He should be engaging the fighters, he should be engaging these bombers, sorry, because there is no actual bombers, but he goes for the Key 32, which the Key 32, I checked the server replay, the guy actually had a lag spike and crashed, and Von Reinders is going to give him a ribbing in chat for it, which you can't help technical issues, I'm afraid, mate. Scored some hits on the Heinkel 111 as he went past. And obviously, the pilot in chat, Folgory1442, the Key 32 pilot is going to respond to Von Reinders. It's at this moment, obviously, I see the K over to my left, and I see the A-29 pilot coming right for me. He wants to tussle. But obviously, it's at this point, the marker for the actual airfield, or the base, actually catches me off guard. I didn't realise where it was. At this moment, though, I jump on the turret to try and get a B5N to bugger off. I do call it a K, but sometimes I call it a B5N. Just depends on what mood I'm in. And obviously, at this point, I know I'm going to have to turn, so I turn as hard as I can to not only dodge the K, but dodge the A-29 that's coming right at me like a suicidal maniac. Look at him do that turn. Obviously, the tail gunner has a crack at him without me needing to interfere. I open the bomb bay doors at this point, and I'm getting ready to drop. Folgore responds in chat, and I take a hit from AAA there. That's the only hit I'm going to really take this whole game, apart from a couple of other scratches. I dump the entire payload out and kill that base, and I get an extra 3 ground targets. Obviously the barrels, I think they call them caissons and stuff like that. So that's always nice. More points towards the Spade. Always nice. Would have been lovely to walk away with an ace in this plane, but don't worry, I got another air kill in the next game I had, which spaded the plane, and that got me the aircraft done. I was done after I dropped my ground targets, or my bombs on my ground targets, but even so, turret there just got 2 kills on those armoured cars. Front guns cleaned up 1. And this is all I'm going to do for the next few minutes, just to get me some extra points. Apologies about that. I am having a discussion with a friend of mine. She's just gotten a dog. As if I know how to look after a freaking dog. But she's just gotten a Staffordshire Bull Terrier named, I think it was Milo, I think the dog's name was. I can't wait to meet him because I love Staffies. Always have, always will. Many people don't like Staffies, and I absolutely love Staffies. They are some of the cutest dogs, in my opinion. So I do apologise about that Facebook notification there. But hey ho, it's about dogs, so it gives me a chance to do a bit of extra waffle, as you see me ground pounding here. Now I believe that was the last armoured car, so I cannot influence the battle anymore. No, there's one more. Never mind. I'm full of shit, but whatever. That's my last ground target kill. I probably should have gone back to the base, not my airfield, to those bases that I bombed and cleaned up the rest of those ground targets. That might have gotten the plane spaded in one game, but I didn't think about that at the time. And that is that. Obviously, I'm being a nice guy in the chat there. So what do I think of A-29 Hudson? This is awesome. It's a bit different than normal Hudson. Obviously, you won't have the incendiary rounds coming out of the thing 24/7 if you run tracers. But to be honest, you don't really need them. The guns seem to do pretty good damage against the biplanes, and obviously, we've met a lot of inexperienced players with inexperienced crews. So that is, well, that's always a helpful factor. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I highly recommend Spain in this plane if you're going to obviously go down the Chinese tech tree. And I will see you all on the next one.